Worries and contemplations is where you start to bring in the outside world and start to fret. And fretting is concern about the output you want, how the output you want is going to think, how you're going to take care of this, take care of that, and also start to get into what we'll call taking on the outside world, taking in the output world, taking on the output world as if we're going to make it our business, make it our concern, make it our overwhelm to try to exist, try to survive. And also where the kicking in of the hyper states of the adrenal levels of consciousness, to start to go into overtime, hyperdrive, and then how we're going to fit into the whole, how the whole is going to start to run your live stream, and then starting to run your live stream to start to take over, hyperdrive, trying to fit into this hole, that hole, this box, that box, and then how we're going to function from a very much a carnal level of survival, from the epitome of the mental level, the identificational realms, but also everything you've ever been taught in a body on a planet, and everything you've ever been taught in a body on a planet to be able to run your outpicture world, and running your outpicture world to the total complete epitome of survival level of consciousness. In a survival level of consciousness, it also begins to affect your relationships, your embodiment levels, but also the embodiment levels that start to run your creator consciousness, to start to separate yourself and segregate yourself from the whole, but also going into the total angst within creation, that begins to run your live stream, starting to affect your financial realm, starting to affect your friendship levels, starting to affect your camaraderie levels, and then from there, starting to affect your whole outpatient world and where you fit into society, where you fit into your outpatient world, where do you fit even into the camaraderies. When you're dancing with others, then all of a sudden you have an angst with camaraderies with others, and all of a sudden you have all these emotional states of traits of consciousness that start to create all what we're going to call these pushing these pulls levels of consciousness, and where we have all of these analytical, your fault, my fault, our fault. And then everyone else's fault. And then my mother's fault, my father's fault, my cousin's fault, my uncle's fault, my aunt's fault, and everyone else's fault, except now I'm going to be the pristine, high and holy. And then also from there, my boyfriend's fault, my girlfriend's fault, and then from there, everyone else's fault. And then, of course, we have to take into consideration, it's all my fault. And then now we have all of everyone else's fault and your own fault. And then now something I'm doing incorrect, and now there's something you're doing incorrect. And now we're going to start to embody that, and then start to worry about how we can do better. And then we're going to start to go from how we do better until finally, eventually, we have a tilt. Because now we have to go into a clearing of reprocessability, back into our cocoon of consciousness, back into our caverns of creation levels of consciousness, and recontemplating even our caverns of creation consciousness, until finally we have a total complete tilt in an angst of a re-embodiment of the mental, analytical, egoist states of consciousness, into where then, wow, how can we start to re-examine, and we start to look at who we are, who we're not, and all these different fabrications of who we're not, and trying to find out where we belong into a societal realm of consciousness based on an identificational state of consciousness, and the fabricated, amplified states of fragmentational states of the crystalline matrix levels of consciousness begin to recreate where we exist into a society realm. And then from there, we start to go from re-existing in a societal realm of consciousness, from a carnal level of consciousness, from a streamer level of consciousness, then once again go back into a survival realm of consciousness until we finally start to wake up, arise, and start to come to terms with, what the heck have I been doing, and none of it matters. Because it doesn't matter. Because you're not going to fit in. Because all these battles that have been taken on to be a battle have nothing to do with you. Have nothing to do with an identificational state of consciousness. But one thing it does have to do with all concerned is how best can I dance? Can I flourish? Can I sing? Can I assist? Can I open? Can I amplify? And then how best from there can I express my own uniqueness throughout all of creation?